This is the final unit of the IIEP MOOC. Upon successful completion of Unit 3, you should be able to review some policy documents to identify what learning indicators are included for the monitoring purpose, review the country's education structure and statistics on the student flows, identify the most suitable assessment for your country context, and propose improvements for the existing assessment framework for your country. We will take you back to the Incheon Declaration, which we discussed during Unit 1 as one of the key documentations illustrating the importance of measuring the learning outcomes. As you can see here, out of the 7 education targets, 5 of them focus on learning outcomes of people of different educational cycles and ages. Do you know which targets have been integrated in the education policy of your country? Which targets are considered to be the priorities in your country? You may stop the video to reflect on these questions. In order to achieve these learning-oriented targets by 2030, your country is required to periodically measure learning outcomes of children, youth, and adults inside and outside of the education system. For example, in order to achieve target 4.1, one indicator could be the percentage of girls and boys who have demonstrated relevant and effective learning outcomes at primary and secondary levels. This would obviously mean that the country has reliable and comparable assessment system at both primary and secondary levels. Likewise, in order to achieve other targets, different types of assessments are required. You may stop the video again in order to reflect on the type of assessments that are required for each indicator identified in the table. You may realize that national examinations or national large-scale assessments may not be sufficient in order to monitor the progress using these indicators. Some indicators require household-based assessments, while others may be already collected through regional or international assessments. Going further, UIS has been monitoring the progress on Target 4.1 worldwide by using so-called Learning Assessment Capacity Index, LACI. The index is composed of 4 criteria based on the following questions. Does the country conduct national assessment in primary education and assessment in secondary education? Did the country conduct a national assessment between 2012 and 2014? Does the country participate in an international assessment, with each rated as either 0 or 1, leading to a scale of ranging from 0 to 4? UIS is currently in the process of modifying these criteria, and the new version of the rating scale is expected to come out very soon. The World Bank also evaluates the assessment frameworks of various countries, including 4 different types of assessments: classroom tests, examinations, national large-scale assessments, and international large-scale assessments, using 3 different criteria: enabling context, system alignment, and assessment quality. The enabling context covers policy framework, leadership, public engagement, organizational structure, and availability of funding and trained staff. The system alignment covers alignment between assessment and learning goals, curriculum, and teacher training opportunities. Finally, the assessment quality covers the quality on design, administration, and data analysis, as well as the effectiveness of the assessment data usage. This means that countries are expected to have a balanced assessment framework throughout various types of assessment. Therefore, it seems quite reasonable for the ministries of education to strive for regular and reliable national assessments, and at the same time to consider participating in international or regional assessments by evaluating certain aspects in relation to their country context. During Unit 2, we have reviewed various large-scale international and regional assessments, in particular the differences between the age-based and grade-based target population, as well as school curriculum-based and general competency-based test frameworks. For example, regarding the target population, in your country, which grade or age level is considered to be the key stage to be assessed? In your country, what is the proportion of the out-of-school students? How will you report on the education targets for all? If the early grades are to be assessed, and if a national language is not yet used for instruction, then what might be the implication on the data collection? Should your country measure the basic core subjects only? Your country may identify a particular non-cognitive domain important, such as life skills and global citizenship. What does the test framework look like? In addition to target population and test framework, another critical consideration is the management of the assessment impact through effective use of data. In other words, does the regional or international assessment frame the priority policy issues identified by the senior decision makers of your country? Are the participating countries encouraged to generate national reports in addition to the international reports? Are they encouraged to discuss the results with wider stakeholders? What could be the obstacles in producing the result timely? Finally, if your country does not have the advanced technical capacity to implement a regional or international assessment, what opportunities does the organizing agency provide in terms of capacity building? Does the capacity building lead to the country's ownership of the assessment study, including the data, instruments, and the methodologies? After these reflections, ministries may wish to join the most appropriate assessment for the country context. However, we shall remind ourselves that the assessment is only one element within the entire cycle of policy formulation. This is the end of the information presentation for Unit 3. You can now carry out the other tasks. First, you may wish to read the selected documents and information resources as usual. Then you could complete activities. Activity 5 is a discussion forum on reviewing priorities, indicators, and statistics. And Activity 6 is an exercise on choosing the assessments for your country. In Unit 3, we have also an optional Activity 7, which is a survey on the impact of assessments. Then, when you are ready for the summative assessment, take the quiz. The collaborative glossary is always available for you to add more concepts from Unit 3. During Unit 3, you will also hear from more world experts about major international assessments. Thank you very much for MOOCing with us.